Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm stripy today. A long time no see. This is another energy update for the May, but more like little bit to do little reality check at the moment because I think we are being asked to do that. And we are in a very powerful season between the two eclipses. One what was the 20th of April, and the second one is tonight, the 5th of May. And of course, there is a full moon, new moons, like this is all kind of like a playing out on us. There was a lot of things happened as well because we are in the Mercury retrograde, and when we are in the Mercury retrograde, usually the best how you can take the Mercury retrogrades like to your best advantage. I actually like the Mercury retrogrades. A lot of people don't, but I do because I know I can shift the most because I usually do the biggest amount of the shadow work during the Mercury retrogrades. And I would not dismiss shadow work at all. I am oftentimes hearing that you should not focus on doing a shadow work and you should more focus on doing the soul kind of a work, like what is your blueprint and what is your design, and more focusing on that direction so you can practically more crystallize that type of a timeline and create the life you want, focusing more on that direction, but you still have to do the shadow work. If people say no, shadow work doesn't work, but that's not true at all. I have to say, as a yogic practitioner, I'm doing a yoga and kriya for very, very long time, and for about like 25 years maybe. But I started doing a kriya about 6 years ago. And of course, it helps you to restructure yourself. But if you are coming, let's say, from a country like I am coming from Czech Republic, so there is the genetic line, and of course, genetics is small amount. You can really reprogram yourself. You can really restructure yourself. But this year, especially, we are working so deeply with your limiting beliefs and your fears. That's why, and it's actually way longer than just this year. It started, I think, in September last year. It's at least a year. It's kind of like pointing us to where are your limitations. And also this eclipse season, and this is our first Mercury retrograde this year, is bringing up to surface as well what was the other eclipses that happened. Let's say for me, we were moving in that time, and we even managed to cut the chimney with the fire. So there's so much hidden meanings in all of these events that are happening for us in our individual realities, which we are sort of like being reminded of, that there is something that doesn't work and we should be like looking on it. And usually it shows up in the Mercury retrogrades or in the eclipses especially. So it's really good to do a shadow work actually in that time, because you will shift the most. And I can tell you, like, you can do kriya for I don't know how many years, or you can try to do hypnosis, trying to reprogram your mind on the finances. But if you're coming from a lineage like I do, there was never abundance. We were always living in a lack. We were always poor. So that type of information is completely missing in my design. So I don't even know what it feels like. When I started doing it first, like reprogramming myself, let's say, for the finances, for the financial success and things like that, I am doing it for about 3 years, and I'm still not there where I would like to be. But the journey itself, obviously, is very beneficial, because there will be people who are having very similar problem, and this doesn't just cover the finances. It could be anything else. So when you have a look on your own journey, those limitations that are there are as well positive. There are your gifts. Let's say your gifts are in the trauma pieces. And that brings me to the first piece of this energy update that we are working through at the moment, which the shadow of the collective is like one of the biggest one, and this is the wounded child. It's a trauma. So what is showing up for us at the moment is the core wound as a children, and it's a trust. We're gonna be looking on how much we lost the trust in ourselves, how many people we had in our lives that lost our trust, how many people betrayed us as a kids, especially as a kids. This is gonna be one of the parent guys, like, you know, most of our partners, if you're in a partnership, if you are having it doesn't matter, you know, most of your partners represents your relationship with one of your parents. So it's really good to dig deep and like really be an observer at the moment, like really observing a lot, and more like a listening, trying to listen, don't talk that much. Especially these days, this is a very specific Mercury retrograde and eclipse season. So it's gonna be more about listening, observing, collecting the data, journaling, journal a lot. You know, like I really suggest that you doing this at least until the middle of the May for sure, for, you know, a couple of weeks. 2 weeks, if you 2 weeks focus only on like what's in your reality, what is staring in your face, and get yourself out there. Because if you don't, if you're gonna be stuck in the house like and just doing nothing is gonna show up for you. You need to go out there and you have to expose yourself to the people so you can actually see what type of shadow or what type of a thing is actually coming to the surface. Because whatever I seeing around myself, also including my friends, we all deal with the trust. You know, most of the people who came to me were betrayed by their partner, you know, cheating, they were cheating on them. Here, a reminder, no judgment, all right? You never go back to a person who betrayed you. Never. Because if you do, you lose so much of yourself. I mean, that's one of the biggest issue what people having with the success as well, or being like abundant and rich, if they are constantly going back to those who betrayed them. So you have to make up your mind, you know. I am seeing this a lot because, let's say, in Czech Republic is very common that the women are with the man who is constantly cheating on them. It is very, very common. And what is actually setting up is that the guys, all of the guys, are cheating on their women, and it's like, okay. And this is being sort of like part of the culture, what I'm coming from, and that's in your genes. So we will be closely looking on like values, loss of trust, and where we get wounded, and who was it first. It's really good to find the first memory of when you really felt betrayed, because the chances are that this is a pattern that you constantly carrying with you for all those years, and it is playing out in all of your areas with in relationships, at work. You know, you might get successful, you might lose it, you know, especially in the business, if you're having a business partner. Like, okay, if I have a look on my stuff, I've been betrayed most of the times, like, yeah, most of the times. So I am doing the same kind of a shadow work. And have a look as well if you were not the one who lost the trust of someone else. You know, that might be playing out in your relationships, let's say, on that you're not having a deep relationships because you don't want to get hurt, all right? Most of the time, like, well, there is gonna be a lot of different things. So you can do your own research on like archetypes of the trauma, childhood trauma, there is a lot of different type of archetypes. There is a victim, there is a wounded child, there are many different types of archetypes if we speak of about a trauma from the childhood. And this time we are dealing with the wounded child, which is like it's one of the deepest wounds that were done to us by our main caregivers. So you have to understand that, because they did not know better. You know, like, you don't have to forgive. Forgiveness is a natural byproduct of you understanding it. Why did you choose it? That you actually chose it. So the best way how to deal with this is to really understand that they have a trauma as well. Let's say my mother is an encyclopedia of trauma pieces. Like, you know, it's like I was looking and I was like, well, I had absolutely everything except like a sexual abuse, I would say. I experienced absolutely all the emotional wheel. So I'm purging quite a lot. So that's one part what we're gonna be doing. We will be looking on a specific trauma pieces. It's a collective energy, so everybody is gonna be looking on it, and that's why I'm talking about trust. It's gonna be trust, values, and betrayal. All right, and cheating, jealousy, hate. You know, anger. There's gonna be a lot of anger, frustration, and how is it all playing out on your success? Because we're supposed to be like coming as, especially if you're a starseed, because most of you are starseeds, but especially starseeds are being asked to put themselves out there and creating tools which are a little bit more like, you know, to blending the spirituality and the practicality all together and creating tools to serve the collective. We are in the phase of 2.5 years to serving the bigger, you know, serving the others, you know, seeing the bigger picture. So 2.5 years, guys, 2.5 years. And it's not that you're gonna be in the regular job, all right? Unless that's not your purpose. It is more about your core gifts and finding the balls to execute them and put yourself out there and do something really tangible, because it also is playing out on your creative expression, and your creative expression is like the key to all this game. So whatever it is, it could be writing a book, it could be maybe you are interested in like the new technology and you would like to, like, you know, go direction like the medical, like, you know, med beds, you know, like working with this type of new technologies, which is really interesting as well. So a lot of the starseeds which are younger than me, that they are gonna be going maybe in that direction, because it's a part of the evolution as well. Artificial intelligence is a part of the evolution, like it or not. So it is gonna be part of the 5D as well. It's not gonna be just the distraction timeline and us like doing it the natural way. There is gonna be as well. So we are closing one chapter at the moment. Hopefully you sorted out some like wounds that you had from the past. I did actually, with one of my very, very first best friend. There we had the wound there, or maybe I had the wound there. So I actually discovered it. I didn't even know I had it, even though it was staring at me past 1.5 years, and I didn't see it. That's the beautiful thing about as well as shadow work, that once you just recognize that there is something and you decide that you want to see it, that you, no matter what, then you can put it in the dream state before you go sleep. You know, you can set the intention, okay, I would like to understand why is this one there, what type of wound I have here, and I'm gonna have a dream, and I'm gonna wake up from it, I'm gonna remember it, and the dream is gonna help me to understand it. This way you can do shadow work this way. You don't have to do the shadow work another way. Of course, there will be a lot of symbology that you will have to deconstruct, but you can definitely do a shadow work in the dream state, because that's how your subconscious is talking to you directly. That's why I do a lot of shadow work through the dream state, but I am working with the dreams for about 25 years. I always had a dream journal, so I trained myself to remember the dreams. You know, you have to train yourself. If it doesn't come on the first night, you have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And there is as well, there are some processes that, or some tools that you can use before you go sleep, that you actually can access these images or the dream state a little bit better, so you can remember and you can have it like a clearer visions, so you can see it clearly, the pictures, and like, you know, getting back with more informations that you can remember, because like remembering them, it's quite tricky. So, you know, you can start slowly training yourself, and you know, it is kind of like less brutal way doing the shadow work, and it's a direct. So practically when you get back in the morning, you can actually solve it in the dreams if you get lucid, which is beauty. Like, you know, when you really get lucid in the dream state, so you know that you remember, actually you are aware of that you are dreaming in the dream, you can actually solve the situation in the dream state. So when you get home in the morning, you pop back into the body and wake up in this physical reality, then it's gonna be different. You can solve it practically in the quantum field. Maybe I can do some about that. I actually started writing it down. I wanted to do like about how we are guided, but someone else did it. And this is another thing, like about like those of you who are having a creative ideas. So those of you who are having some creative ideas, and if you didn't execute it, I believe me, someone else is gonna do it, because the ideas are alive. I want to tell you as well that, like, I said that to one of my friends, and I wanted to say it to another friend. The moment you have an idea, which is, let's say, writing a book, or doing the course, or doing this, or doing that, or painting the picture, or I don't know, you know, like doing some sewing, or like open up the business or something, just do it, no matter what, and keep doing it. If it's a big idea, let's say creating a very specific product that will help people, you have to do it as soon as possible, because it exists in the quantum field. Everyone else can take that idea. Usually those are impressions that are put on the human to influence us on our journey. But there are many adepts that they can execute that idea. So if, let's say, you are a writer, all right, you worked with the kids in the past a lot, and constantly your higher self is nudging you to write a book for the kids, which are at the moment now they need the help, and you're not doing it, someone else is gonna do that. Someone else is there another adept who is gonna be good to bringing this through? And I'm telling you that because it happened to me a million times. I wanted to launch a couple of things, but because I get always the situations at home because I'm a mother, so I cannot show up as much as I can. I lost that idea. Someone else executed and came up with the product very soon afterwards. The same like when I'm doing the energy updates, if you check out the other people who are doing energy updates, they're talking about the same things in a different way. Because the moment I get that download, it's there. Everyone can tap into it. Even you can, you know. So just keep that in mind. All your amazing ideas don't come from your ego, they come from your higher self, right? From your higher mind, always. Because the human mind is not able to come up with any ideas whatsoever. Just want to remind you that. This is a clear sign. So anytime you have an idea, just go and execute it. That's a little help for those who are creative. So we are closing this like a big chapter at the moment. Hopefully you did some shadow work. If don't, you still have a time to doing it. So looking out on like whatever is playing out in your reality, it is all gonna be about the values and trust, and how you're using your resources as well, and how you are being used by others, how you are being sacrificed by others for their own benefit. That's another one, what I keep seeing a lot. You will have to find a compassion like for your human journey through all this struggle and the wounded child archetypes, because there is a lot of trauma archetypes, like, you know, a wounded child is one of them. So that's why we are working through that. It might be showing up as a pain in the body for sure. So, you know, old pains. Watch out how you speak, because this is showing up for me a lot. I get passive aggressive and things like that. So we will have to embrace the shadow, like what we are. So a lot of those wounds what we are working through, we gave to our kids. If you are a parent, especially if you're a parent, you know, it's a big one. Like, you know, a lot of the generation of the kids are like double wounded. So the world is a little bit messy. It's a little bit messy at the moment. So it's not gonna be easy, and it's gonna be good if you really do your shadow work. If you do like some research as well on the woundology and like a wounded child and like the all kind of childhood traumas, and like have a look what is it actually showing up for you, because this is showing up really strongly. It is gonna be connected with the pain in the body. Let's say if you're an old person and you have a problem with the hips, there is a transgenerational trauma, and it's gonna be really difficult for you to work through it. Dancing will help for sure, but to understand it, you will have to understand it. Like for me, like one of the most amazing thing about shadow work is that once you understand it, you can let it go. So we are closing the chapter. So I hope this helps you guys. Have your eyes open. We are going through a massive ego death, and there's a lot going on as well, like in the outside world. So this is more or less what we're working through at the moment, and get creative. It's good to take a look on your old projects. Yeah, those days during this Mercury retrograde and eclipse season. But you know, they say that you should not start anything new, don't sign any contracts and things like that. But like, you know, we are balancing things out, and I wouldn't say that it's like a ultimate truth, this one, but I can do extra shadow work rather shift yourself, you know, because that's the best thing you can do anyway, because what you have to do the change in here first. Otherwise the outside is not gonna change. So if you were in the abusive relationship before, you're gonna be in the one again unless you don't do some shadow work. So okay guys, I hope that helps, and I see you next time. Bye.